Are there further witnesses for the defense?
Defense rests.
Testimony ended this morning in the murder trial of Joe Koenig. Closing arguments are set for Thursday morning, and then the jury will decide whether to convict him in the deadly rock-throwing case.
Koenig stands accused of killing Alexa Bartell in April of 2023. And Kevin Vaughn from 9 News Investigates has been in court throughout the trial. He's with us now. And Kevin, it sounded like today's final testimony pretty much just reiterated things we'd already heard.
Yeah, Kim and Tom, the last witness called by Joe Koenig's attorneys underscored the idea that mental health conditions have played a role in this tragedy. Koenig's attorneys don't dispute that he was involved in Alexa Bartell's death or that he committed a crime, but they say he didn't throw the rock that killed her and that he's not guilty of first-degree murder. The final witness they called was a psychiatrist who examined Koenig. Dr. Alexandra Leach concluded Koenig had attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and borderline personality disorder, and those played a role in his actions.
Talking more so about impulsivity or an inability to inhibit or slow down and think through decision making in that moment, or appreciate or perceive future consequences, which again, in my opinion, in Mr. Koenig's case, is attributable to multiple factors. Impulsivity associated with ADHD, impulsivity associated with borderline personality disorder.
The jury will have a lot to think about. Koenig faces 19 separate criminal charges.
So what do we expect tomorrow as far as those closing arguments?
Each side gets 1 hour. We should expect the prosecution to go over much of the detailed evidence. They presented 51 witnesses and overwhelming evidence of Joe Koenig's involvement in this. And we should expect the defense to hit at the credibility of a couple of prosecution witnesses, Koenig's co-defendants, and also raise the question as to whether this should be first-degree murder as opposed to a lesser charge under the idea that these were kids doing something stupid without thinking about the potential consequences of that.
Did something in the prosecution's case really stand out to you?
The prosecution's case was incredibly detailed, and I'll give you an example. They introduced early on the idea that Joe Koenig was left-handed, and that's how he could throw this rock while driving the truck. They brought in a deputy who booked him into jail, who was wearing his body cam during that, and they played like a 10-second clip. And they asked the deputy, what was he doing here? And he said, he's just signing his papers for being booked into jail. And they said, what hand did he sign with? His left hand. So just that, or just one witness, a couple of minutes on the stand, underscored the point that Joe Koenig is left-handed.
Certainly seems the greater burden is on the defense with the closing tomorrow. It feels like there will be a conviction, just it's a matter of at what level, but the defense has quite a burden tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, they opened up their opening statement by saying he's involved, he committed a crime, he was there, he was reckless, he was, acted without thinking about the possible damage, the possible injuries, the death he could cause. We just don't believe it's first-degree murder. And so their whole push has been conviction on a lesser charge, manslaughter on the murder count, probably something less than attempted first-degree murder on the 9 other counts he faces for that, for other rocks thrown at other vehicles.
So they're probably going to hone in on the fact that these two guys flipped, basically, took a plea bargain, and they're going to try and paint them as equally guilty in this whole thing.
Yeah, and so these other two guys, Karol-Chik and Zachary Kwok. Karol-Chik initially told the authorities that it was Kwok who threw the rock.
Oh.
He told a different story on the witness stand, so they've attacked his credibility there. They've also attacked the credibility of Kwok. Both of them got first-degree murder charges dismissed. Both are facing, as we talked a few days ago, decades in prison, even though they pled guilty to lesser charges.
You've judged juries in the past. Has this one paid attention? Has this one locked in?
This jury has been attentive and a lot of note takers and has asked a lot of questions of witnesses. They have a provision now in court where a jury can pass questions to the judge.
Which is so different, yeah.
Yeah, very different.
Well, there'll be a lot to come tomorrow with those closings. We will follow it, of course. I know you will. You have been all the way. Kevin, thanks for joining us.
Yep.